the album, but it's really the beat of the single that they stuck on, right?
I would think you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Now, I mentioned that song back in the days when we were playing together, and when our band was together and playing pre-COVID. I wanted to do that song, "Baby You're a Rich Man," and you seem to have an opinion as to why we shouldn't. But I think that's a great song. I love it. It's a quick song, like everything else.
I guess I didn't have the confidence in the band to be able to pull it off, but but I'm not against it.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
There's some crazy horn stuff going on in there, down, down, bam, bam, and like there's some crazy Egyptian-ish sounding, horn, that they've got in there that, how are we going to reproduce that? Or is it even necessary? But we never even gave it a shot. We never even ran it down. I don't know.
We get Chris on the keyboards come up with that crazy
We need to come up with, he needs to play the piano on that.
Yeah,
and it's a piano sound.
Right.
And I think it's got to be there.
Right. And that is part of the reason why I love it. It's just got that banging on that piano. It's just a straight up good beat, a good song. Yeah, but you guys, John, you haven't mentioned "Strawberry Fields Forever." That's on my.
Yeah, it's not on the album.
It's on the one I got.
I know what you're saying, but that's not
on the real album. I guess
that's a single, Tony. Like again, that's a single that comes out before Sgt. Pepper's.
Essentially, Sgt. Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour collects everything released by the Beatles in 1967, right? So you have the Sgt. Pepper album, then you have the 4 songs from the 2 singles of Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane,
yep.
All You Need Is Love, and Baby You're a Rich Man, and then everything else is actually made for Magical Mystery Tour. So that's where it's kind of it's a hodgepodge. So it's kind of almost unfair to pick it as an album too, or people call the Yellow Submarine as an album.
So what is the original track listing then? If you
take those 4 songs off of it, and it was 2 7-inch EPs.
Yeah.
So,
it's
but
good.
then right. So now you have essentially 3 real songs. Is actually
Fool on the Hill.
Fool on the Hill.
Gotta count it. Magical Mystery Tour.
Magical Mystery Tour. I Am the Walrus. Flying.
Well, I Am the Walrus is not. That's a single.
Yeah, but I think it was but it's okay. Now I got to look it up because because Hello Goodbye is the single too. But
that's the flip.
So maybe you're saying that's not on the original.
I think Hello Goodbye and I Am the Walrus are a flip-sided 45.
So Magical Mystery Tour EP.
But I thought you said like contractually they had per year they had to release a certain number of singles.
Sides. Yeah, so usually it was 2 singles and and so it was all in. It was 20 tracks, I think, right? So it would be 2 or 3 singles, which is 4 songs, and then a 14-track LP. So by 67, they're not.
So how do you know that like Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane weren't originally like, part of this whole thing, and they're like, well, we got to release. This is a song these are songs we're working on.
Because it had already come out as a single prior to, it had already been a single before it came out. So for United States, like you had to buy the single. The Beatles never release it. They put out Sgt.
Chris,
Pepper's.
What came out as a single?
Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields Forever. So they put those out as a single prior to even Sgt. Pepper. That goes out. United States audience is buying LPs.
But they're buying the singles.
They are buying the singles too. There's no doubt. But the American they just had no. Okay, they just filled up that record with we'll take the singles that that. If you didn't buy the single, then you had I can remember when I got that record, the the most underrated fake Beatle record would be Hey Jude. But there was certain songs on the Hey Jude record that, like, I had no other way of getting them because I didn't own the singles.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Back in 1970, whatever, when I got that, there were Beatle record songs on that I'd never heard before. And it's a phony bit, like, a lot of people call it the best fake Beatle record. You know?
And what was also, I mean, the other convenience too is you could actually put on the needle and get 5 or 6 songs in a row. Whereas, listening to Penny Lane, you'd have to finish and you have to go to the record player and turn it over and play the others, right? So there was that too.
I want to make the argument that if it wasn't for this contract that they had, and they were more of what comes later in the music world, in the music business, is like they're not pressured to put out singles a certain amount per year. That they're like, we got this song. I don't know where it's going to fit yet. But let's just keep working on stuff.
But that's a really bad example because they were pressured. That was probably one of their most pressured singles they ever had to put out because they'd been taking so long making Sgt. Pepper. They actually hadn't put out any music since like August or September of '66.
Like, aren't they kind of finishing up, John? Like their contract is kind of ending and expiring. Brian Epstein dies, of course. And so those records, like when you say like Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine, what comes out first, John? White Album or Yellow Submarine?
The album?
Yeah.
I think the White Album. I think Yellow Submarine actually is out in '69.
No.
White Album is Thanksgiving '68. Like it literally comes out on Thanksgiving Day in 1968.
Boy, I thought they were kind of finishing up like it was like they're finally like, wow, because they want to start up Apple and all that stuff. So you're telling me the original release of Yellow Submarine, I'm going to say United Artists probably had a crack at that as well. Like, did they do a help thing with that? Or Hard Day's Night thing with that? Like where they have those fake...
I think so. I mean, I only remember it on Apple. But remember, so just to put you're tying in Apple. So contract ends. They start Apple. First single on Apple is Hey Jude Revolution. Right? So that's summer of '68, right? And then they put out White Album. Then after White Album, they go right into they go into the studio to start all the Let It Be sessions for January, essentially.
So they stick out the Yellow Submarine movie comes out. They take a bunch of oddball songs that didn't make it onto either
they have
Sgt. Pepper. Like, is that only a Northern Song and all that stuff? Just kind of show like that's where they just kind of scrape all that stuff together, and that's an Apple release.
Yeah, I think Only a Northern Song was actually at one point I think tracked on Sgt. Pepper.
It was tracked for Sgt. Pepper, didn't make the cut.
Yeah,
I agree.
And that's right. Yeah, and then you got Hey Bulldog. No.
What song?
It's only a Northern Song.
Which is written by about their publishing company. Yeah.
By none other than the acidic George Harrison. Who's. You might not think the chords are right. You may think the band's out of tune. You might think, it's what does that matter? It's only a Northern Song. But Northern Songs had screwed George Harrison and the Beatles.
So the movie comes out like November. So it says the movie comes out November 13th, 1968. So literally it comes out and about 10 days later, White Album comes out. So they're not dropping the Yellow Submarine soundtrack at the same time. It comes out January 13th, 1969. So,
and that's just it sounds like to me it's just a scrape together because none of them could be bothered. But I think that's the time when they quick run into the studio and record Hey Bulldog. Like they were doing something for the thing they're doing. We have to go in and do a promo thing. And if you look at the Beatles,
but you got to think about the timing.
At the end of the Yellow Submarine movie,
Yeah.
The Beatles, live Beatles come on and they do this shtick where Ringo's like pulls a fake hole out of his pocket. I've got a hole in his pocket. And they're spieling on about this. And if you look at the clothes they're wearing and then go to, I think it's the same, like you can tell it was same day. They go in and tape Hey Bulldog and they shoot this stuff. And it's like, because you can kind of tell by this sweater that Paul McCartney's wearing.
But the piece of information.
Settle down, you'll get your words in.
But I'm trying to say you're going off about it's the same thing. But remember, they're making a movie, right? So the movie had to be done so much earlier for it to be available for a movie that comes out in November. So it was done, and I'm looking at it now in February of '68. That's when they did the Bulldog stuff. So it's actually between the magical. It's essentially their first at a psychedelic stuff,
Great.
So they have to finish. They have to do that stuff, and then then they make the movie, and they have the right. So all of that stuff. It is.
I don't believe it.
So
we got a
Google with 2 O's.
Yeah, we got a true beatdown going on here. It's a good reason. Good thing that we're in separate rooms.
We are. So, by the way, the original EP of Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah.
Magical Mystery Tour, Your Mother Should Know, Side 1. Side 2, I Am the Walrus. Okay. Second EP, Side 1, Fool on the Hill, Flying. By the way, my copy is absolutely mint because I never played that side. And then Side 2 is Blue Jay Way.
So did they release those things on 2 discs because of the obligation of having to have a certain number of sides, as you're saying?
See, this is where, once again, we're in 67 now. So they did, yes, they have to put out something for Christmas, and they've had their Sgt. Pepper year, and then they did All You Need Is Love. And then they made this movie, which was kind of slapped together. They did it pretty quickly. They did it by themselves. It was the first thing they did without Brian. And that gets released. It literally gets shown on Boxing Day, right, in the UK. The story is it was originally done in black and white, and so it wasn't as interesting. And then they finally showed it in color. Then people liked it. And what they put out was this special double EP thing that came in this nice package. I don't know. I don't know if the American one didn't sneak out till '69, but all the material were there. But I guess that would have been the American Christmas product. Was the Magical
I never owned the EP. I've only ever owned, it had the booklet and all that stuff. I probably have a couple of copies of it.
Yeah, the
with it,
the booklet is in the EP too. It's just small. Yeah, but I had bought one of those. They had the EP collection, which I had picked up when they had those little box sets or whatever. But some point or other, someone offered me enough money that I got rid of it. So I actually don't have it anymore. But
I may have asked this before, but again, these movies that come out, these are Epstein deals that were made, or the record companies?
Certainly when Hard Day's Night happened, that was what rock stars did. When you got big, you made Elvis did it.
Sure.
There's Dave Clark 5 have a movie. Jerry and the Pacemakers have a movie. The Kinks never got a movie.
They don't have
That's why they're
movie.
Underrated.
It wasn't a Dave Clark 5 movie, right? Didn't they just appear in it?
It's called Catch Us If You Can.
Okay.
And I don't know. Actually, having never seen it, I don't know if it's anywhere near A Hard Day's Night. But there's a Love and Spoonful movie. There's a Slade movie. There's an Alice Cooper movie.
Right.
It was just something people did, right?
So is this
it's
movie?
Not like the Feelies appearing at Wild and Hard, right? It's not just like they're in there.
They're written around them, right? It's
no kidding.
It's these, right? It's like, let's get the kids to go. We could now get the kids to shell out for these. When you think they're like Roger Corman movies, they're not like big budget things or whatever. But
for the Beatles though, because they're not touring. Is this another thing that they're saying? Okay, let's get. We're going to do an album. We're going to do.
They actually stopped really being involved with making movies when they stopped touring, like they did. They did.
After Magical Mystery Tour, it becomes like, they love the idea of we can fulfill a contractual obligation without actually having to be in the movie, and you'll get a bunch of other, like,
that's
it's not even the Beatles. It's right. And it's not even the Beatles narrating. It's like they brought in actors to do the Beatles too. Like they don't have anything to do with it until the end of it, you know. And
look,
it was
Ringo even says in the anthologies, you know, I don't know why we didn't do the voices.
Well, that's a good point. Like, right. I think it was like because the other guys just couldn't be bothered with it, and then Ringo would just go, "Okay, if the other guys aren't doing it, you know, then I guess we're not doing it." You know, I'm not surprised. You know,
I mean, you just offhandedly just said it, like it's a contractual obligation of like.